This is a brief demonstration of STRATER. I won't attempt to go over all the features, but I'll try to cover the most important ones. I've opened the sample file called Mining Example 2, which is found in the STRATER Samples folder to make it easier to explain some of the features. When you first open STRATER, two windows are available, the borehole view and the database view. You can select which view is active by clicking on the tabs at the top. The borehole view shows all the graphical elements of your log. This is where you design and create your log layout. It is divided into three panes: the header pane at the top, the log pane in the middle, and the footer pane at the bottom. The header and footer panes are where you store all the information about the log. They can contain drawing objects such as text, lines, polygons, imported objects, etc. The log pane contains the actual logs. All the logs in the borehole view are based upon data imported into the database view. The database view is where the imported data is displayed in various data tables. You can view the various data tables by clicking on the tabs at the bottom. As you can see, you can import data from multiple boreholes into one data table. In this example, there is data for borehole called DH1 and DH2 imported into the database tables. There are three managers in STRATER: the Object Manager, the Borehole Manager, and the Property Inspector. All of the managers can be opened and closed from the View menu. If there is a check mark next to the name, that means the manager is open. If there is no check mark, that means the manager is closed. You can open and close a manager by clicking on its name. The Object Manager lists all the objects in the header, footer, and log panes. The objects are grouped together according to which pane they're located in. So, all the objects in the log pane are listed under log pane objects. All the objects in the header pane are listed under header pane objects. And all the objects in the footer pane are listed under footer pane objects. In STRATER, you can have multiple borehole views in one project. This allows you to create a borehole view for different boreholes, or you can have different log layouts for the same data and save it all in one project. The Borehole Manager displays the names of the various borehole views. In this case, there is only one borehole view. You can use the Borehole Manager to open views that are not currently open and create new views. For example, to create a new borehole view, simply right-click in the Borehole Manager and go to New. This will create a new borehole view called Borehole 2. You can also see this name in the Borehole Manager. You can toggle between the different borehole views by clicking on the tabs at the top, or by double-clicking on their name in the Borehole Manager. You can close a borehole view by clicking on the X in the upper right corner. This closes the borehole view here, but you can still access it through the Borehole Manager. To reopen a borehole view, just double-click on the name in the Borehole Manager. If you want to delete a view, all you have to do is right-click over its name and go to Delete. As an object is selected, the properties for that object are shown in the Property Inspector. Whenever you change one of the properties in the Property Inspector, it has an immediate effect on the graphic in the borehole view. For example, I'll select this complex text log, and the Property Inspector updates to show the properties for that log. I can change the text color from black to blue, and I'll see the text color in the log update immediately. This is also where I control what data table is used for the log, and what data field within the data table is used. For example, this bar log uses data from the data table called Chem Analysis, and the data field called Copper %. I can change the data table to any table listed in the drop-down menu, and I can change the data field to any field listed in the drop-down menu. You can change the generic settings of the borehole view in the Borehole View Properties. You can access the Borehole View Properties by either going to View, Borehole View Properties, or by deselecting everything in the borehole view by hitting the F3 button, or by going to Edit, Deselect All. The borehole view properties are displayed in the Property Inspector. You can change the borehole name by typing in a new name. If there is data for more than one borehole imported into the database view, you can change which borehole is being plotted by selecting the borehole name from the Borehole Name Filter drop-down menu. This menu is also available in the toolbar. You can change the depth settings of the log, such as the starting borehole depth and ending borehole depth. You can change the scaling of the log and the log display mode. You can set the log display mode to be full view or page view. Page view shows you the log as it is broken down into pages. You can view the different pages of the log by clicking on these arrows. Full view shows you the entire log without any page breaks. You can also define log pane, header pane, and footer pane line properties, and define a null value. I'm going to go ahead and close this project now so I can prepare for my next demonstration.